The SEC Game of the Week is back at Bama for a top 25 matchup between the Crimson Tide and the Razorbacks. For Alabama, the stakes are clear. Win Saturday, and they punch their ticket to the SEC championship game against the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. And while Alabama continues to ride the hot hand of Heisman Trophy contender Bryce Young, Nick Saban trying to keep the focus on the present.
It's our last game in Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's been a great atmosphere to play in, and it's certainly needed to be that way for this game.
And Alabama is a 20-point favorite. Arkansas is on the rise under head coach Sam Pittman, and they have a head-to-head win against Texas A&M, the only team to beat Alabama this season. A win Saturday would not only shake up the playoff race, it would put the Hogs in position for a New Year's Six bowl.
I was really proud of our guys being down at half, coming back. It wasn't pretty, but when that ball went through the uprights, it was one of the prettiest things I'd ever seen.
But it has been a long time since Arkansas beat Alabama, pre-Nick Saban times back in 2006 when Mike Shula was the head coach in Tuscaloosa. It's the SEC Game of the Week between Arkansas and Alabama, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on CBS.
Thank you very much, Chris Hassel. It's that day of the week and that time of the show. I call it burger time because, well, I'm always a little bit hungry around this time of the day, and it was my favorite video game growing up. College football picks with our wagering guy, Jon Berger. How you feeling as we head into Week 12, JB?
I'm good, man. It's been a good year so far. We got a good slate, and I can't wait for the conference titles game as well, and all these coaching jobs that are opening up.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting, man.
Yeah,
Let's get into it.
We've been talking a lot about that this week. Let's start with that SEC Game of the Week on CBS, Alabama-Arkansas. The Tide favored by almost 3 touchdowns here, John. The over-under sitting at 58.5. The Tide have scored at least 49 points in 3 of their last 4, so that over-under might be short here. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm going to make this one simple. I'm going to take whatever amount of money you're ready to put on the game. I would take it and split it. I would put 70%. I'm going to go the under, though, Jeremy, instead of the over, and I would take 30%, have a little fun with it, and see if Alabama covers that number. That's a huge number in an SEC game. And the reason I say that, Jeremy, is, if you're Arkansas, what do you have to lose? And the answer to that is really nothing. And so sometimes when you get late into the season, you got a team that's got nothing to lose. Alabama's sitting there. They can clinch it. They can go play Georgia in the SEC title game. I think there's more pressure not only on Alabama, who's obviously going to win the game, but looking good. The thing with me is I look at Alabama as a team, you kind of wonder what was going on with Florida. You look at what happened with LSU. Neither one of them was particularly dominant wins. But all that said, last 2 games, Bama's won this convincingly by average score of over 35 points. I think there's a clear advantage, both offensive and defensive line, as well as the skill on the perimeter. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. We're going to see what Alabama does. Again, Arkansas has nothing to lose. But I think the smarter play here is to take the under, put a little bit of money on Alabama covering that monster number, have some fun with it. But that's the direction I'm headed.
All right, let's talk about Michigan State working on a 10-year extension that would make Mel Tucker the highest paid coach, black coach, in North American sports. Period. On the field, 19
Deserves it, man.
19-point dogs to Ohio State on the field for this one, though, John. OSU has won 5 straight in the series, and the last 4 all by 20-plus points. So, the line makes some sense here. The total is 1.5 points shy of 70. So are you chasing the line or are you chasing the total?
I might have a couple cocktails this game, Jeremy, because I'm taking the over. This is one of those games where you want to sit back and just kind of enjoy it and take it in. I can't get over the fact that Michigan State's pass defense, their back 7, is one of the worst in the country. They're hovering right there, right at the worst in the country. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Michigan State can score points. You can say what you want to about this team. They've been the story of college football, or one of them. You look at Mel Tucker about ready to get this extension, which surprises me a little bit. I really thought that an LSU or one of these other openings would come knocking on the door. All that said, I can't get over the fact that wide receivers from Ohio State, the top wide receivers in terms of the position grouping, going up against Michigan State pass defense, which is going to struggle. So what does that tell you? What it tells you is Ohio State's going to put their kind of normal point production on the board. But what it also tells you is for Michigan State to hang in this game, they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to score a lot of points. I love watching Kenneth Walker at the running back position, Reed Naylor at the wide receiver position. Michigan State does have some explosive playmakers. So I think some points are going to be scored in this game. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun watching this game. But I'm going to take the over because I think those points are going to eclipse what's set right there. I just don't like the spread on this one. It's just too big in a conference game. You never know what's going to happen with an early kickoff. So that's the direction I'm headed. We're going to have some fun on this one.
And, I mean, if there's an upset here, then you've got a 7-1 Ohio State, a 7-1 Michigan State, depending on what Michigan does. Michigan and Ohio State play next week. It sets up a big-time finish in the Big Ten. Could be some excitement as we line things up next week, heading towards the Big Ten championship. All right, next up.
I like the tease, Jeremy. I like the tease. Man.
I like it. Yeah, next up, 8-2 SMU, 10-0 Cincinnati. Bearcats enjoying a 10-0 run for the second time in program history, but no love from the committee. They stayed just outside the top 4 in the CFB rankings and actually dropped a spot in the AP poll. 11.5-point favorites against the Mustangs. How are you feeling about this one, John?
I'm going to take SMU in the points. The thing about Cincinnati, and look, you can say whatever you want, and I get the debate, and it's fun, and you watch it on television. You're at the Chuckle Hut with your buddies, having a couple cocktails. It's an interesting conversation. Bottom line is, like, if you're Cincinnati, you're not a Power 5 team, your margin for error is very small. You look at this team, and I have utmost respect for them, offensively and defensively, what they've been able to do. Keep in mind they had big, road wins at Notre Dame, IU. They're going to play SMU tough. They're ultimately going to win this game. But when you look at the playoff situation and everybody's getting, excited about it and where they're ranked and where they're not ranked, they didn't look all that great against Navy. They didn't look all that great against Tulane. They didn't look all that great against Tulsa. So you can criticize the situation and the committee and the way they do things, but the bottom line, and Cincinnati knows this, when you're not a Power 5 team, you've got to have style points. All that said, you got a Texas team going up into the state of Ohio. It's going to be cold. SMU's been a surprise to me, certainly on the offensive side of the ball with that big win against TCU. They can put some points on the board. I think ultimately Cincinnati wins this game. I think they pull away in the fourth quarter. The number's too big for me. I'm going to take SMU in the points here, and I'm going to do it behind that offensive production. You look at their quarterback situation, sitting there with single-season touchdowns with 37. They've had a good year. They've got some playmakers on the perimeter. Not a lot of people follow this team. I just think the number's too big. Cincinnati wins. I think SMU covers, and that's the direction we're going to take this today.
Cincinnati 17-point winners against USF last week coming into this game. So obviously the AP poll not convincing enough for them. As you mentioned, John, they just haven't been able to get over that hump yet in terms of being able to convince those on the committee and when it comes to the AP. Okay, let's talk about the big game in the Pac-12. Number 3, Oregon goes to number 23, Utah. The winner off to the Pac-12 title game. Even the loser can clinch a title game spot if Arizona State, Oregon State goes the right way. Vegas gives the Utes the 3-point edge here, John, with a total point shy of about 60. Is this spread just too close, given the opposition and the venue?
Conference game. If you recall, Jeremy, me and you talked back in, I think it was August, early September. We were talking about, and the topic was the futures, right? Who's going to win every conference? And if you'll recall what we did, is we took a bucket of money and we put 55-60% of it on Oregon and took the other bucket and put it on Utah. And it's kind of played out that way. I think in either situation we win. This is going to be an exciting game. This is one you're going to watch. If you're a college football fan, you've never seen the game in Salt Lake with the mighty Utah student section. It's a fun place. The place is going to get loud. It's going to be disruptive. It's not going to be easy for Oregon to get their player personnel on and off the field. It's going to be loud. It's going to be uncomfortable. I love what I see out of Oregon and what they've been able to do this season. Early in the season, they go to Columbus. It's a 9 a.m. kickoff their time, Pacific time. They walk into Columbus. They walk out of there with a win. You look at what they did last week. This is a football team that ran for 306 yards on the ground at Washington State. They're a complete team. But I have a lot of respect for Utah and what they've been able to do. This is a team, when you line up the position groupings and you look at them objectively and you kind of take your emotion out of this. You look at the quarterbacks, look at the running backs, look at the wide receiver, and look at the defensive line. I'm not sure when you put these two teams together that you can slide a paper between the differences in the two. Look at them. And I think that surprises a lot of people. I think Vegas has got it right. I think this is a very tight game. I think it's going to come down to a couple plays. Don't be surprised if a special teams place comes into this, but the number's too tight for me. What I do think is going to happen is I think there's going to be a ton of points scored. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be a ratings bonanza. and that's why I'm going to take the over. This is going to be a great game to watch. There's a lot of points scored. Take the over here.
All right, Jon, Berger time. Never disappoints. I hope, Jon, if I'm ever in your neck of the woods, that you take me to your favorite Chuckle Hut. Great stuff as always,
Absolutely.
JB. Good luck
Go to
this
the Cowboy
weekend.
Club, Jeremy.
Hope
Go
you get
see
some
Jerry World.
Hope you get some good payouts, my friend. Let's recap Jon's picks for Week 12 of the college football calendar. He'll take Alabama at the 20.5 plus the under. He doesn't like that 19-point spread for Ohio State. Likes the Mustangs to cover the 11.5 versus the Bearcats. Going to smash that over as well. With just 3 points between Oregon and Utah, Jon will go over the 59 with a spot in the Pac-12 title game.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.